just call me Lemony Snicket, because this was a series of unfortunate events, that's for sure. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jacy and I got robbed recently. Well, technically burgled because I wasn't there. There is a difference. My journalism degree would be proud of me. But I was robbed recently, and I haven't been having a good go at life. But hey, at least it'll make a good story time, I guess. I did document this whole experience over on my vlog channel, so if you want to see all the shenanigans in real time, I'll leave it linked below. But go check out that channel. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. I don't know. Let's just hop into this story because I'm mad. And this will be pretty ranty. Chapter 1, the robbery. So for a little bit of background, I did talk about this in my most recent video, but I had my hard drive crash. It had my entire social media career on it, all of my TikToks, my vlogs, all of these videos. And that's a pretty big deal because I obviously need that for my archives, but I do go back into all of my old videos and edit them down into shorts. It was pretty devastating, and I knew I had to go get the data recovered because I didn't think I needed a backup to the backup, which was my external hard drive. So I was already having a pretty rough go at life. I was also having a ton of personal issues going on, which I will not be getting into maybe ever, but just a really tough time, really annoyed. And then this happened. So here's what exactly happened. To decompress from all of the stresses of life that I was going through, I needed a little me time. And so I decided to take a hike. That sounds... Literally, I was going on a hike, not like get out of town. I went on a hike, okay? So I go up to the Hollywood sign. I do this hike all of the time. It's more of a walk. It's only kind of like uphill for a half hour. And then after that, the rest of the half hour is just pretty flat. You get to see the Hollywood sign. I don't know, it's kind of nice. I just get to vibe out and reflect and be peaceful. And that's really what I needed at this time. So I descend up to the Hollywood sign. And as I'm coming down, feeling pretty good, got my steps in, really had some time to contemplate life. And that's when my phone gets service as I'm coming down the hill. And it's a text message from my bank saying, hey, we noticed some unusual activity on your debit card. Were you trying to make a purchase for $440 at Gelson's? And I'm like, what the frick frack is a Gelson's? So I know clearly right away that it's not me. And I text back no. And obviously alarm bells are going off, but I'm like, okay, well, at least my bank knew that that's not like me. And so I was able to decline that purchase. But almost immediately my heart sinks because I get another notification from my other credit card and my other credit card company saying, approved for $440 at Gelson's. And I'm like, what the heckaroo, somebody has my wallet. So at this moment in time, I take off sprinting down a mountain. My shins are burning, my quads are on fire, but I knew immediately somebody had broken into my car and taken my wallet. And of course, at this time, I'm thinking, damn it, Jacy, you didn't hide your backpack well enough. When I go on this hike, all I bring with me is my key fob to my car, my phone, and my AirPods. I don't like carrying a backpack or a fanny pack, even a water bottle, because I like to just be free and airy with nature. And so I have everything else that I carry in my backpack, along with the backpack itself, in my car. I'm usually, hindsight is 20/20, because I'm usually so good about putting my bag in my trunk, being very mindful of not keeping it out in the open. This one time I put it under my passenger seat, and I guess I just got a little careless. Maybe it was poking out a little bit, but I knew somebody got into my car and took that backpack. Now, what I was wondering is on my sprint down the hill is whether or not they broke into my car, if I left it unlocked. All of the things were going through my head, because I knew I had to get down that mountain. And it's supposed to take you like a half hour to walk down. I make it back down to the parking lot in 12 minutes flat. I get to my car. Sure enough, my passenger window is absolutely busting. The glass is falling, and my backpack is nowhere to be seen. So I, of course, have the most natural reaction and start bawling my eyes out. And like, there are other people in the parking lot being like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, my car, they took my stuff. They're going on a spending spree at some place called Jelson's. And they were like, oh, Gelson's, that's the grocery store right down the street. They probably went to the first place they could find and maybe bought some gift cards. So sucks to suck. And I was like, yeah, it does. So I have the second most natural reaction, and that's to call my dad, because dads know best when it comes to robberies, I guess. So I try calling my dad, but again, I'm in like the forest. I'm in Griffith Park. There is not that much service. I call my dad and I'm crying and I'm like, Dad, something not so chill happened. The problem is that I was going in and out of service and I was probably cracking in between. So from his point of view, it sounded like, Dad, happened, my car, help. And so we start playing phone tag because my call fails, he tries calling back, that call fails. So I know I have to drive out of this park in order to call my dad to be like, what the heckaroo do I do? And so I'm like, am I allowed to drive with the broken window? Should I call the police? I can't even call the police. There's no freaking service. So I hop in my car, tears rolling down my face. I drive out of the park, finally get to a residential area. I park, and it was so funny on like that 2-minute drive, how like glass is crumbling and I'm trying to like protect myself from the fallout as if shards are gonna stab my eye or something. So I park, I collect myself, I call my father and I tell him what happened. For the next 15 minutes, I enjoy a nice preachy lecture from him about how I need to be
more careful, and I should have hidden my backpack, and I need to be like more vigilant about Los Angeles crime, and that this is all my fault.
Dad things, you know. And he starts walking me through the next steps of what I need to do. Now, immediately I realized that in my backpack were my apartment keys, because again, I only took my key fob to my car. So I quickly call my brother next because he keeps a spare key for me. And luckily he was about to head out of town. Like in 10 minutes, he was about to hit the road and go on like a several-hour drive. And so I call him panicked and I'm like, hey, have you left yet? And he goes, we're getting in the car now. And I say, you need to meet with me. I need my house key. I just got robbed and I need to get back into my apartment. And he's like, oh shoot, okay, well text me the address of where to meet you. So I had already driven out of this hiking spot and there was no point in calling the police, but I knew I needed to make a police report. Well, at least according to my dad, because they were using my credit card. So since they kind of went on a spending spree, at this point, I was still getting alerts. I was still getting like, are you trying to make this purchase? And now that I had service, I immediately froze my card so that they couldn't spend any more money. And I knew I had to go to the police because that police report would kind of, I guess, clear me of all of those charges and ensure to the credit card companies that it was fraud. So I knew my next stop was to the police station. So I texted my brother of the police station that I was going to, and I headed there. Chapter 2, the police report. I've never been in a police station, and it kind of wasn't what I was expected. It was a lot more jail like than I thought. I don't know, I expected like a bank. I think what I was picturing was more of like a Brooklyn Nine-Nine style where I go in and there's a bunch of desks and I could like go to an officer's desk, sit down and cry and tell them my story. No, it was just like I don't know, just a singular desk and nothing else. It was very concrete-y and cold. So I walk up and they're like, what can I help you with? And I say, hi, I just got robbed and I need to make a police report. And they say, well, actually for police reports, you usually can do it online now. Technology. And they said, but wait, was anything taken in terms of identity or things worth value? And I said, yeah, they have my wallet and they went on a credit card spending spree at Gelson's and Target. And the police officer, like heavy sighs, and he goes, yeah, you'll need a police report here. Give me a minute. So I'm already feeling like I'm the biggest inconvenience. At this point, I had settled down and I kind of realized that this is a petty crime. Like this isn't some big police investigation that they're gonna care about. People are literally getting like murdered in Los Angeles. My stolen backpack and broken window is not gonna be at the top of their priority list. So at this point, I'm feeling like, I don't want to say better, but I'm feeling better, more of just like what a crazy situation. All right, let's file this stupid police report and get it over with. So the officer starts asking me all the basics, you know, when did this happen? Where did this happen? What did they take? And he starts filing like an itemized report of what exactly was taken. And this was something that I hadn't yet thought about, of like the specific itemized things that were taken. And that's when I start to get sad again, because like the first question he asks is like, all right, so your backpack was taken. What's the monetary value of the backpack? And I'm like, the backpack, I don't know, I bought it like 5 years ago from Target, so $25. And he was like, okay. And the wallet that was taken, what is the monetary value of the wallet? And I'm like, the wallet itself? I don't know, like $20? What, are you gonna reimburse me for that? But then he starts like asking what else was taken. And I start getting like sad because I'm like, oh my gosh, there were so many sentimental things in there. And the first thing that I thought of and got really upset about was, no, my original library card was in there. Like the library card I had since I was a child from my hometown. Like I take that library card into the library and they go, whoa, you've been a long-time member. This library card is from the literal 1900s. And so he was like, what's the monetary value of some of the things in your wallet? And I'm like, I don't know, priceless? And he was saying like, I can't really put a price on that, but you know. The other thing I got really sad about was 2 days prior, actually a month and a half prior, I did this fitness challenge through my gym, the Transformation Challenge. That's another vlog if you want to go see that whole fitness vlog. And they had raffles for all the people who completed the challenge. And I was one of the raffle winners. I won a $50 gift card to the coffee shop next door, which is a big deal for me because over on my Instagram, I review coffee, I love coffee, and I was like, oh my God, I never win raffles. Like, I did it. This is so exciting. So for some reason, the second thing that I thought about was like, oh no, my $50 gift card. And then the third thing I thought about, you know, snowballing from that is, oh no, they have my Taco Bell gift card. And I was gonna go get Taco Bell after my hike to further decompress from the stresses of life and reward myself. They took away from me a Crunchwrap Supreme and Cheesy Gordita Crunch, those bitches. But then, you know, I'm also saying like, yeah, they took the credit cards, but I froze those. You know, they have my ID. They also took my house keys. And the police officer stiffens, his eyes darken, and he goes, they have your ID and your house keys. They have your address and a way to get inside. That's not good. And that's when I kind of hardened and was like, oh shit, that's probably a bigger deal than my library card. So the police officer, he was like, do you have a Ring doorbell? And I was like, no, I live in an apartment. Do they have security cameras? Can you call your landlord and alert them of a possible potential break-in? And I'm like, I don't know, I guess. He was like, do you have any personal protection equipment? Do you have something where in the event of a home invasion that you could protect yourself from getting murdered? And I'm like, no. And I said, actually, I do have all of the places where they tried to spend money. I have the timestamps, exactly the locations of where they were. How about instead of worrying about getting raped in my own apartment, you could go, I don't know, hunt them down. And he was like, no, you should get a gun. And all I'm thinking is, sir, do I look like John Wick prepared to protect my household? I'm not gonna go get a gun. Like, what are you talking about? And I realized that, like, again, this is not the priority of police. They're not going to go do this investigation and hunt them down just for some gift cards and a library card. But I was also like, dang, like, not that I'm being, like, blamed for this or that I have to do all the work to protect myself, but I was like, oh man, that is kind of concerning that they have my address and my keys. I will need to do something about that. I finished the police report, and I know I have a laundry list of things to do next. My brother meets me there. He drops off my keys, so at least I have my apartment keys to get back into my apartment. And hopefully they weren't there, but you never know. They weren't there. They weren't there. The next section I would just like to rant about. Chapter 3, the stolen goods. These are all of the things that they took and the monetary value of them. My backpack, which again, $25 from Target. A Gatorade bottle that I had had since my high school soccer days, since my club soccer days, since the days that I quit sports and went into academics instead. I loved that thing. It was sentimental. I've had it for many, many years. Priceless. They took an almost complete tube of chapstick. Do you know how hard it is to complete a chapstick? It was a Burt's Bees too. That's a nice chapstick. But the fact that I almost completed it, priceless. Attached to my backpack was a pin of RM from BTS, straight from the motherland. My brother's girlfriend visited Korea and brought me back a little souvenir because she knows how much I love BTS. So that is 13,000 won, which is Korean money. I also had a brand new pack of gummies that I just bought, half off at the artistry, but I wasn't about to tell a cop that I had drugs in my backpack. So 3 ganja leaves. They took the wallet itself, $20. They took my Costco card. This is a big deal because I don't have a Costco membership anymore. I had an ex that worked for Costco and I had a free lifetime membership. And then he removed me because I broke up with him, which makes sense. But I at least had the Costco card. I at least had a free entrance to go get samples and then leave. I'm never gonna get a Costco card membership again. Priceless. My mom's employee work card. My mom works at a grocery store and she had an employee card that she gave me, which got me her gas points. I would get up to $1 off every gallon of gas. That's immeasurable. It's not one you can put in a phone number. It's an employee card. She could probably get me another one, but this one, priceless. There was $60 cash in there, so $60. My original library card, like I mentioned, immeasurable, absolutely immeasurable. There was an original wallet-sized photo from my mother and father's wedding about 35 years ago. The original one, invaluable, invaluable. I can't get that back. I had a very close friend pass away, and in my wallet, I kept the card from his funeral, the little memorial and obituary. Absolutely immeasurable, incalculable, never get that back. That one really cut deep. In my backpack, I had a tiny little travel-sized notebook where I kept TikTok ideas and video concepts and hilarious jokes in case I decided to be a stand-up comedian. That is immeasurable times a billion. That could have been like my Stephen King moment, my big breakthrough where that video could have gone viral and I'd be a gajillionaire. They took that from me. Now I'm gonna be stuck at 10,000 followers forever. But worst of all, they took my motivation to film for about 3 weeks, which is where I've been, which is not here on YouTube. I haven't filmed because I've been sad and had no motivation. And that probably cost me like, I don't know, 400 bucks. I don't make that much money on here. So after reflecting on this list that the police officer didn't even care about because most of these things don't really matter to him, financial and emotional ruin was upon me. Chapter 4 is the aftermath. And most of this video has been funny. This is where it kind of gets a little crazy. So I had a broken window and they couldn't come fix it for a couple of days. And by they, I just mean somebody I found on Yelp. I did one of those trash bag windows where I took everything out of my car and I had to like duct tape a trash bag to my car because I did have one place I needed to drive, and that was to go pick up the hard drive that crashed. I went to an awesome place, 5-star data recovery, would highly recommend if you need data recovered. They were able to get about 70% of my data back. It cost me $300, which was actually the lowest price I could find for data recovery. I didn't realize how expensive that was gonna be. I did lose 2 videos that I already filmed, and I'm not gonna film those again because they were pretty high effort, so sorry, guess it'll remain a mystery of what I actually did, but it's another reason I was sad. I lost hours worth of work. But 70% is better than 0%, so I was happy to pay the $300, happy to make the drive to Glendale several times, and happy to start getting back on track. I got a new library card, which was kind of cool because they had a limited edition library card honoring P22, the celebrity mountain lion of Los Angeles. And I'm not going to go into any more detail of that. If you don't know who P22 is, you're not from Los Angeles. Look them up. I'm a big fan. So kind of cool I got that library card at least. I fortified my apartment with new safety features. I'm not going to tell you what they are in case you're the robber watching this. Could be new locks. Could be a baseball bat with spikes on it. could be an AR-15 like the police guy recommended because this country is broken and I could probably go down the street and buy one. You know how it is. I had to get new credit cards and spend a lot of time on the phone doing all of the fraud investigation, telling them that it wasn't me, and they believed me, luckily, and nobody asked for the police reports, probably because I was able to freeze my cards pretty quickly after they went on a short spending spree. But I had to get all new cards ordered, and those don't come for a week and a half, so I've been like on a no spending spree. It was also it's so annoying getting new credit cards because so many things have auto payments and subscriptions on your credit cards. So like every day is a new email from like Spotify or my health insurance being like, we had a problem processing your payment, put in new card details. And I'm like, I can't. Please don't cancel my Spotify. You're the only thing keeping me sane at this point. So just redoing all of those subscriptions and auto pay, super annoying. I had to get a new ID, which is actually kind of funny that they took my ID because my old ID, this was my photo. That looks nothing like me. That is 15-and-a-half-year-old Jacy getting her driver's permit. It was my soccer days. I was tan. A lot of people think that I had a shaved head. I did not. I'm just wearing bangs and my hair tied back. I don't know. I was a fashion nightmare. And I would actually get rejected from a lot of bars because they'd look at that, they'd look at me and they'd be like, yeah, homegirl, that is not you. So I was due for a new ID anyway, especially because in California and maybe everywhere else, I'm not sure, you have to get a real ID. So I needed a new ID anyway. But what I didn't realize that from renewing your license, you had to take the test all over. And it's not like a driving test. It was a general knowledge test. But it reminded me of taking all my food handlers quiz, where they're like the most basic information, but they're unskippable videos. So I just like muted it and I was watching TV and then I would just keep pressing next. And then at the end of every chapter was like a 3-question quiz of like, how fast can you go in a school zone? And if I didn't know it, I would just Google it. But then other times it'd be like, if there are children at play, how fast should you drive? Slow or fast? Big brain move. I got that one right. The other crazy thing about taking this general knowledge quiz, and this is clearly updated for today's society, was there was a whole section about how to deal with police officers if you get pulled over. And I was kind of like, this is eerie because it shows how dangerous it could be getting pulled over. It was talking about step 1, like turn on your right signal, then pull over, roll down your window and put both hands on the steering wheel. It also had a section about like, it is your constitutional right to record. Just announce to the police officer that you are recording. They cannot tell you to stop recording. They cannot illegally search your car if they don't have reasons. And I don't know, it was just pretty crazy. You know, times have changed. And I guess we can't trust the ones who are supposed to protect us, but that's neither here nor there. So I still have to go to the DMV to get my ID, which is going to be a process in itself. I've been carrying around my passport, which is probably not a good idea because that's kind of my only form of identification these days. So I don't like doing that. So I got to get that done soon. I don't want to go to the DMV. I had to file a report with my identity protection company that I use. If you haven't seen my video, I had a whole haul of safety products last year because I was trying to protect myself from the other evils of the world. And one of the things I did was I got a fraud protection company because I thought my identity was going to be stolen. Why are people trying to steal my identity? I have so much student debt. Please take it. Let me start fresh. My goodness. But I just had to file a report for them in case there was any suspicious activity. But it didn't seem like it at this point. It didn't seem like these robbers were going to come to my apartment and murder me. It didn't seem like they were trying to steal my identity. They just wanted a quick grab and go cash it out for some gift cards, it seemed like. So no fraudulent activity on that front, luckily. And I think the last thing on my to-do list is I need to go buy a new wallet. That's been lower on my priority list because I have nothing to put in it. I may have said it too soon, but the part where it gets crazy, I'll tell it to you now. So 2 or 3 days after getting my car broken into, you know, I was pretty pissed, but I was like, well, yeah, what can you do? I was at work, and during our morning shifts, for reference, I work at an ice cream shop. I love scooping ice cream. I love my little job. But the morning shifts are pretty slow, pretty boring. Nobody wants ice cream at 11 in the morning. So I was kind of just hanging out, standing around. I probably should have been cleaning, but if you're my manager, you didn't hear that from me. So I was standing there daydreaming, looking out the window, and I hear this blood-curdling scream, like a scream that made my blood run cold, and I quickly looked over, and everybody on the street darts their head over. We look over in the parking lot, and you see two masked men in ski masks hopping into a car and driving away. And there's just a woman in the parking lot shrieking at the top of her lungs. So I go outside and I'm talking to this group of girls who's waiting for their reservations at the restaurant. And I'm like, what the heck was that? And they said, that woman just got robbed. There's a bank right across the street. She went to the ATM, walked back to her car, and they had a strong arm robbery against her. I knew this specifically because I don't know if you guys use the Citizen app. I have a lot of tangents in this video, bear with me. The Citizen app, don't download it. It's the scariest app in the world. The Citizen app basically listens to every police phone call and tells you what crimes are going on. And I remember when I first had this, I had a little phase of being obsessed with my Citizen app. I set my distance to 1 mile, and it would alert me when any crime would happen within a mile. My phone would not stop ringing. And now it makes sense why the police officer didn't care about my backpack getting stolen, because I once got an alert that there was a woman stuck in a trunk of a car and was pounding to get out. There was another one of a knife attack, another one of some guy getting the shit beat out of him down the corner. Terrifying app, really opens to your eyes of the dangers of living into a city. So I deleted that, but I quickly re-downloaded the Citizen app and I checked to see what was going on, and it said it was a strong arm robbery at an ATM, meaning they did use a weapon and force in order to rob her. And what's interesting about this app too is you can actually pay to listen to the full police dispatch report. So I'm not sure, because I don't pay for it. I'm not sure if it's the actual 911 call or if it's the police dispatcher dispatching the police. I don't know, really fascinating. Check it out if you, want to get spooked by where you live and live with constant anxiety. I think I kind of glossed over this point a little too much and didn't hammer home that I witnessed a strong arm robbery while I was alone in an ice cream shop and defenseless. They could have easily come and robbed me. That would have been way more traumatizing. That's so terrifying. But also, for that woman, you could hear the panic in her voice. I don't know. I don't think I hammered home how, that's scary, right? That's terrifying. Two ski mask adorned thieves. I'm probably going to include on the thumbnail, two guys in ski masks. It's not clickbait, because I didn't get robbed by guys in ski masks, but I did witness that 2 days later. So if you saw the thumbnail and thought I was lying, this is where it all comes into play. So this obviously was very upsetting for me. One, I felt helpless. I'm not going to go defend this woman from armed robbers, but I was clearly a little sensitive to robbery, and this one hit a little too close to home that I'm just thinking, what the heck is going on in my life? Why am I attracting thieves into my day-to-day activities? And so I obviously wasn't feeling great, kind of feeling a little scared about life. And that's when I really started to hunker down in my apartment, because I was like, I don't know, the world is scary. It seems like the world is against me, and I don't really want to do anything right now. Chapter 5, The Message from the Universe. So I had several weeks of solitude reflecting on all of these things going on. My hard drive crashed and I was very upset about the potential of losing my entire social media career that I've spent 3 years working on. So many personal life issues that was making me absolutely depressed. Again, check out some of my vlogs. I try to open up about that, but I'm not going to get into it. I lost a lot of my personal items. My safety was compromised, and I don't know, my faith in humanity was being shattered, because I'm like, why would humans do this to other humans? And if you asked me my birthstone at this time, I would have told you rock bottom, because that's how it felt. But I was talking to my dad about it, and he said something very insightful. He said, you can't be mad, because all this is just an inconvenience. It's an inconvenience to call your credit card companies and get a new ID. It's an inconvenience to go and get your car window fixed, which I did. That also cost me $300. I spent a lot of money on my hard drive, my window, all this other stuff. But he just kept emphasizing, it's just an inconvenience, and that's it. Think about the robbery that you just witnessed. That woman could have been hurt. She could have been killed over her ATM money. The trauma she's gonna have is way worse than mine. I wasn't even there for my crime. I was burgled. She was robbed. That is way more traumatic and scary than something I went through. It was just an inconvenience. And another thing that really made me reflect was another little side story that I haven't mentioned yet was when I was filing that police report and when I was done, I had to go wait outside for my brother to bring me my car keys. I was waiting outside for about 15 minutes. There was this man kind of loitering outside, and I was a little concerned because I don't trust men at this point. But I'm also like, I'm in front of a police station. What's he gonna do? He was just like hanging around for like 5 or so minutes. And that's when a woman and a little girl pull up. The little girl comes running out of the car and goes, "Daddy," and takes off running towards him. And the woman and the man, for like a split second, get into a little bit of an argument. Like you can kind of hear a little bit of yelling, but nothing too crazy. And the woman starts walking away and the little girl runs back to her and says like, "Bye, mommy, bye, mommy." And I realize that this is a custody trade-off. They clearly have a hostile relationship and need to do the kid trade-off in front of the police station. So the woman kind of like comes and stands next to me for a little bit. And she was like, "Oh shoot, is that your car?" And I was like, "Yeah, it got broken into." And she was like, "Oh, that sucks. I got into a car accident recently and my whole back fender is completely smashed in, but I can't afford to get it fixed." So we were kind of commiserating about that. And I just kept thinking like, why is she hanging around? Sure enough, the little girl comes running back saying, "Bye, mommy, bye, mommy." And the mom's like, "All right, sweetie, like go ahead, go back with your dad. I'll miss you. I'll see you next week." She runs back to her dad. I'm chatting with the woman again. And the little girl, for a third time, runs back from an even further distance, sprinting to her mom, being like, "Bye, mommy, I'll miss you," and runs back to her dad. And I'm talking to this woman, and I was like, "You know, my car window doesn't seem as bad as what you're going through." And she says, "Yep, these are always the hardest weeks." And she said to me, she'll come back one more time. This little girl is far down the street. She is a little figure, takes off running one more time to this mom saying, "Bye, mommy, I love you." And it's kind of bringing me to tears now because it's like, that's so sad. That's so hard. Like to have to do that every week, that like, again, my stupid thing felt like a drop in the bucket compared to this mountain that these people have to go through every day. And I know that's not a crime. I know that she didn't experience something as violating as her safety. But like, I don't know, my problem just seemed like nothing compared to that. What a much tougher time somebody else is going through than me. And that really changed my perspective of, I kind of thought the universe was against me, but I don't know, maybe the universe was trying to send me a message. And the last thing that really got me thinking was my brother said, "It sounds like you're having a karmic reset." And I said, "But why do I have such bad karma? Like, what did I do to get such bad karma?" And he kind of shrugged and goes, "Maybe it's not that you have bad karma. Maybe it's that good karma is coming your way and you're just being cleansed of all the bad stuff." And I think the overall thoughts of this section and my mindset about it now is, let me be a little hippy dippy and try to find deeper meaning and optimism in this, is I'm starting to take it as the universe was cleansing me and saying, it's time for a new beginning. That hard drive with my past 3 years of social media, even though I recovered 70% of it, it kind of felt like, hey, here's how far you've come. You almost lost it, but now is a new starting point. Now is the new era of your social media career. You have a new external hard drive, fill it with new things for your career. That ID that I've had since I was 15 and a half years old, that's the old Jacy. It's time to start the new Jacy. It's time to start fresh with new credit cards, fresh with a new ID, fresh with a dang library card, and really just have this new beginning. And I'm being hella vague about the personal stuff, but so many things that have happened in my personal life, I don't know, it just feels like this new era of Jacy, this new time of needing to start over, and just this new chapter in my life. I'll be turning 30 in a few months, and it just kind of feels like I'm gearing up to a new version of Jacy. And I don't know, it feels like I left my backpack in the car. I got robbed, which is really rude, and it's ridiculous that I have to suffer the consequences of my own stupid actions, but I'm getting a new beginning out of this. And I won't be hunting down the robbers that took my stuff, and clearly the police won't be doing it. But the best I can do is make a YouTube video publicly shaming them and hoping I make my money back from that. So, checkmate, criminals. But that is the story of how I got robbed, how I had my hard drive crash, and where I've been for the past 3 weeks, which was sad, but I'm feeling very hopeful and optimistic about the future. And I don't know, like I mentioned, I'm hoping this is a fresh start for me. So thank you guys for hanging out with me, letting me get a little ranty about all the things that I lost. But it's okay. It's gonna be okay, and I'm ready for the new era of Jacy. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you're not already following me on social media, go check out all of my social media accounts. I would really appreciate, I don't know, you guys following some of my other things. I try to do something different on every single one of my channels. So like Instagram, pretty pictures, TikTok, stupid jokes, vlogs, story times, Twitter thoughts. Go check it all out because I like hanging out with you guys. But I will see you in the next video where there will be no more bad news. So thank you guys. Love you. Toodles. This one time, probably like 8 years ago, I also had my car broken into and they smashed the window and they took nothing. I had things in there and they took nothing. Like nothing was of value. They literally broke into my car and was like, actually, this is sad. And she probably needs these CD-ROMs. I'm good. That one hurt my ego more than anything.